Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton News Daily. Frank Lampard has given his pre-match press conference ahead of Everton's trip to St James's Park tomorrow night to face Newcastle United in the Premier League. The manager gave an update about the injury situation in the Blue squad.
We'll start with team news, please, Frank. Mason Holgate, Yerry Mina, are they ready to be involved yet at all?
Yerry had a small issue in his rehab last week, so he won't be. Mason is in the squad, so yeah. Progressing with that. Ben Godfrey's also on the training pitch, which is great to see. Early stages, but good to see.
Every week we seem to ask you this, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is it still a case of being careful with his minutes, or do you think you can let him go from the start now?
Well, yeah, a bit of both, because I referenced it, as you say, you ask me every week, and I referenced it the last time you asked me, in terms of we've got to be careful with Dominic coming back in terms of probably the training, making sure that we sort of gradually bring him in, but as quick as possible. It's a fine balance, that one. But yeah, he's certainly getting to the stage when you think that we've got 2 games in 3 days now coming up, that hopefully we can get more minutes out of him.
So there you go, the manager speaking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin there. Obviously important to get him back. I think we need Calvert-Lewin fit and firing. I know some people are ready to, or seem ready to kind of throw the towel in with Dom, but I'm certainly not at that stage. I think if we can get him fully fit, he becomes a game changer for us. He's done it lots of times already in his Everton career. He's been able to be the difference for us, and right now, you know, we haven't really got any other answers in the squad. Yes, I think Neil Maupay's a decent squad player, absolutely, but I think having Calvert-Lewin available again and firing will be huge, and obviously the manager sees it like that as well. As well as that, Frank Lampard spoke about what a difficult challenge it will be going up to Newcastle. They've certainly improved massively under Eddie Howe. It's a tough place to go. They've only been beaten once this season. This is what Frank Lampard had to say about the prospect of facing Newcastle tomorrow.
How do you view this Newcastle team? Because it seems that they're more than just difficult to beat, aren't they?
Oh yeah, of course you have to respect them, because they're a really good team. They've got fantastic coach, manager, coach, staff, a lot of detail. I'm sure, you know, just from the outside, really good players. You know, recruited really well in the last 2 windows, and of course the new funds they have. I think they want to direct it well. They've brought in a great director of football. So there feels like there's a real plan and a vision to what they're doing, and we have to respect that and understand we're in for a very tough
manager. Correct. It is a tough place to go, and obviously, listen, they're not Manchester City, so therefore we have got an opportunity to get something there, but we will have to be right on our mettle, and it'll be noisy and it'll be hostile, and hopefully we seem like a stronger team this season in terms of being able to cope with that. We're going to need all of that tomorrow, but it does bring a pressure around the game, and there's been a lot of stuff over the weekend about the pressure managers are under. We saw Jurgen Klopp being sent off over the weekend. Frank Lampard was asked about that today, and the media's kind of insistence on discussing who will be sacked next and all of that. The manager was asked, has that added to the pressures of actually managing football clubs? This is what he had to say.
I don't know the nature of the Premier League at the minute, the amount of money that's involved, maybe the games, the run of fixtures, the pressure from the media spotlight as well. Do you feel like the pressure on managers has increased over the last few years?
Yeah, for sure. I think you see it every day. I think there's a fascination about who might get sacked next and all these things, and we have to feed the media train. I listened to it on the way into work this morning, talking about managers who are working in circumstances that nobody knows, difficult circumstances, pressurised job, and people are casually talking about who will be sacked next, and I think that's where we're at, and it's a bit unfortunate. I'm not trying to change the world by saying it, it's just a reality of what we're in.
Yeah, so there you go. Obviously Frank Lampard giving his opinion on it. It does seem like that. It does seem like when there's nothing else for the media to come out with, that, you know, radio stations and the written press and stuff will run or book almost on which managers to be sacked next. So it does create obviously that pressure around it. And, you know, Frank Lampard speaking as someone who was apparently the favourite to lose his job before a ball was kicked this season, and we've already, you know, seen a few of the managers leave their roles in the Premier League already, but obviously hopefully Everton can stop this run of defeats, because inevitably he'll be discussed again only by these people. But back onto the game and stuff, another question for him is, how can How can our midfielders and players who aren't used to scoring goals improve themselves? Or Frank Lampard obviously was a tremendous goal scorer midfielder, and how Everton could do with someone like that. He was asked whether or not his influence can help those midfielders become better in front of goal.
As someone who scored a lot of goals from midfield yourself, to what extent do you try and instill into your midfield players the mentality of trying to get forward and to be brave to go forward and try and score goals, particularly when obviously Calvert-Lewin's been and Richarlison have been unable to be part of it this season for different reasons?
Yeah, I think there are team issues with that one. Firstly, midfield has to be aware of the structure of the team. So it's all well and good to talk about getting forward, but we have to be secure at all times. At times last season we were too easy to play through. There were different factors to that, but to keep a bit of security. But now when you look at the players, the first thing you want as a coach is to see that they've got the capacity to get there. And our players now, we do have capacity in midfield to arrive. Then the next thing is, okay, the quality of the finish, the clinical, the mentality. And if I'm honest, it takes hours and hours and hours on the training ground at that point. You know, it doesn't. My first-hand experience of it was I worked hard and it made me score goals. I've repeated and repeated and repeated from being 10 years old to 38 years old when I finished. So I can pass that on to the players, and then hopefully we'll see the results. It's not always that simple.
We could do with someone like Frank Lampard in our midfield right now. A team that hasn't got a lot of goals in it. Hopefully the improvement will be there. And when we get opportunities like we did on Saturday against Tottenham Hotspur in future, hopefully those players can take them chances, because it changes the game totally. On to Eddie Howe. He has praised Everton's summer transfer business. Speaking at his press conference before the game, obviously, said that the signings Everton made in the summer were very astute. And has said already Everton are a much better team than they were last season, and Newcastle are anticipating a very tough game. Said thinks it'll be a tight game. He said both games last season between the two sides were very tight, and it's a difficult one to call. But also went on about Frank Lampard. Said Frank has done a very good job at Everton stabilising it. It was a difficult situation last season. They stabilised that and have gone on to improve, and he said he thinks Everton will get better and better. So some nice words from Eddie Howe there. He also confirmed that Isaac is out. He's going to be out till after the World Cup. Alan St. Maxim also missing this game as well. He's got a hamstring problem. He's normally has a good game against Everton, so that's a positive, I guess, from our perspective. Fabian Schär will be assessed. He has got a heel injury, and they're trying to manage that game by game, but did say that John Joe Shelvey will remain in the squad. He returned as a substitute for Newcastle at the weekend in their 0-0 draw at Old Trafford, but he doesn't feel that he's ready to start yet, also recovering from a hamstring injury. So that's the Newcastle team news ahead of the game tomorrow. João Virgínia has said that he has no regrets about signing for Everton. The Portuguese stopper said that he was aware when he joined Everton it was going to be a difficult task going up against the England goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. The challenge of trying to compete with him for a place in the 13, but said that was why he wanted to come to Everton. He obviously worked with Hugo Oliveira, who was Portuguese goalie coach at the time, and Marco Silva was here. But said he's enjoyed his time at Everton, learned a lot. Said he's made his Premier League debut. He's also played in the FA Cup as well and gained that valuable experience. He is currently on loan at SC Cambuur in Holland. He's made 10 appearances for them this season. He's enjoying his stint there. There has been lots of positive stuff written about João Virgínia since he's been over there. He is still under contract at Everton until 2024, and the plan is for him to return in the summer and obviously try to fight for a place in Frank Lampard's squad. So hopefully he'll continue to get, well, he's Cambuur's number one goalie at the moment, so hopefully he'll have a good strong season, and then it's up to Frank Lampard to make that decision next summer on João Virgínia. Everton are interested in a move for Lille forward Jonathan David. That is according to reports in France. Also, Sky Sports German correspondent tweeted it last night as well. 50 million euros is apparently what Lille want for David, who has been excellent for them again this season. He's got 9 goals in 11 games. Everton were very interested in him when he left Belgium, after doing really well there, but obviously didn't follow that up, and he went off to Lille. There's conflicting reports about what David wants, what club he wants to join. But the Canadian international want to move to the Premier League. If Everton had the money, I think he would be an option for him. He's an excellent player, can play through the middle, but also does really well out wide. You'd have to see whether Everton could get him. Fabrizio Romano says that Everton might have to fork out around £50 million if they want Mikhail of Mudryk in January. The Shakhtar, the next winger, has been in really good form for them in the Champions League and scoring goals, and he's obviously got that turn of pace. Everton had a £27 million bid turned down for him in the summer transfer window. I thought to be monitoring whether to go back again, whether they go back with numbers that high, I don't know, but he's another one who is interesting, Everton. And finally, Everton under-21 side are facing Hartlepool United tonight in the Papa John's. It kicks off at 7 p.m, which is right now, and this news goes out. You can watch it if you're an Everton season ticket holder or an exclusive club member. It is available on Everton's website, so check out the under-21 side there. That is it for the News Daily. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to become a Toffee TV Premier member, click the link in the description or the QR code that is on the screen now. Thanks for watching. See you later.